You're watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers.
The Dean Smith Center in Chapel Hill can feel like a racetrack when North Carolina gets that running game going at holiday time or any time. And oh, how they love to run. Right into a long home court, non-conference winning streak. And on the topic of streaks, the young Texas Longhorns have been hot in December. It's Texas and North Carolina coming your way next. From North Carolina, it's the ACC on ESPN. And tonight from the Smith Center, we welcome you to Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers, as the Tar Heels, ranked number 6, face the 9-2 Texas Longhorns, who've actually beaten Carolina 4 consecutive times in this series, including last year's thriller. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chapel Hill. Happy holidays. I'm Dave O'Brien alongside Jay Billis. Great to have you along. And Jay, Carolina's getting a lot of well-deserved publicity and exposure. That has not been the case with Texas. They're not in the top 25. Very unusual for them. Usually Rick Barnes isn't all that thrilled about seeing us coming, but he is now.
He certainly is. I mean, they're back on national television where they can show their wares in a great opportunity against North Carolina team that really gets up and down the floor in transition. And for Texas, they've got to be efficient offensively. You want to take Carolina out of transition, you cannot take quick shots, you can't turn the ball over, and you certainly can't take a bad shot because all those equal layups on the other end.
Give us a look now at the one-on-one and the impact players we can expect to see tonight.
Well, for Texas, they go with Jacobin Brown as their leading scorer. Jacobin Brown averaging over 19 points per game, and believe it or not, he's their best post player. With this Utah Jazz series that Rick Barnes runs, they can get him into the post. Against the size that North Carolina has, that's going to be difficult. And for North Carolina, everything starts with Kendall Marshall. Second in the nation in assists at over 10 per game. All of his teammates run and they look for the ball because he can deliver it right in their shooting pocket.
To the starting lineups now for Texas. They start 3 freshmen, Jonathan Holmes, Julian Lewis, and Mike Kabongo. Juan Meni is the only senior who starts, so they are very, very young. For North Carolina, Harrison Barnes getting 16 a game, Tyler Zeller 14, John Henson averaging a double-double, 14 and 10, for the long and fast break-ready Tar Heels, ready to go tonight. And great to have you along. Jamie Lucky, Roger Ayers, and Joe Lindsay, our officials this evening.
Texas starting out in man-to-man.
And Henson knocks down the first jump shot right away for Carolina.
And how much more confident has John Henson been in his offense? He is looking to take shots now where last year he shot as a last resort.
Everybody knows what a great defender he is. He's added that, and on the topic of defense, a quick stop right away as Barnes got a hand on it. The deflection knocking it out of bounds.
And the first challenge for Texas is going to be get the ball inbounds against John Henson underneath.
That's 6'11".
Makes it so difficult to inbound the ball and certainly to run what you want to run to get a shot out of bounds underneath.
Kabongo, the freshman from Toronto, by way of Africa. Sweet jump shot by Holmes from on high, way downtown with a three-pointer.
Well, Jonathan Holmes has not shot the ball particularly well over his last several games. He's 8 of his last 23 before that one, but he can step away and knock down a perimeter shot, and Rick Barnes thinks he can play on the perimeter in the future.
Barnes, a one-on-one move. Brown hit the deck. The follow-away, nothing but net out of Harrison. Barnes off to a quick start.
He's looking to be more active. Last couple games, he's gone 8 for 24. 2 in a row with 4 for 12, and Texas cannot have that. That means a layup.
Strickland on the other end, and a slam high up and then down. Man, did he elevate. That gets the crowd roaring its approval right away here at the Smith Center. Jacobin Brown from about 24 feet and knocks back a 3.
Dexter Strickland went over Mike Kabongo. That was absolutely spectacular on the other end, and his defense, he's an outstanding defender, will be challenged against Jacobin Brown.
Barnes, the pick for the ACC Player of the Year in the preseason. Off the side of that iron by Henson.
Henson can make that. I don't like that shot. First shot was open. You know, that was a challenge shot falling away, not necessarily what he wants to be doing.
On many setting the screen, Kabongo nearly lost it, and he zipped it out of play. The freshman averaging about 6 assists a game.
Well, the ball just kicked away from Kabongo. Now it's all of a sudden 4-on-1, and then it was 1 over 4 there, 1 over 12. That was incredible, the height that Dexter Strickland got on that dunk.
Roy Williams said that his defense last year was as good as any guard he has ever coached over the entire season.
Well, he was tremendous against Wisconsin. There's a double team on Zeller. He's been getting the ball knocked away, but very strong on that one, got fouled.
Kabongo with the foul. Look at Roy Williams, his 9th year at Chapel Hill, 24th as a head coach. And he guided a young Carolina team to an unexpected run to the Elite Eight last year's NCAA tournament. It would not be unexpected this year. Quick inbounds, and Zeller there to bank in 2.
Alexi Wanmeni just turned his head, and Kendall Marshall whisked it right past his ear for that layup.
Kabongo misfiring, and there was some question about whether Kabongo would start. His back has tightened up on him. He iced it today in practice, but he was in the lineup at the outset. Henson trying to wriggle his way in, deflected out of play, and Carolina will keep it. 17:20 to go here in the first half.
Yeah, Kabongo is going to have a really good floor game. So far, Texas has been taking some quick shots off of one pass. It hasn't hurt them too badly yet. They're only down 2, but you have got to run really good and efficient offense against North Carolina, or they're going to be able to get out and run. Got to make them play 5-on-5 in the half court. That's great in theory, but it's hard to do.
Strickland tied up. Great defense on that stop by Julian Lewis, and they win the ball back. Texas does on the possession arrow. Rick Barnes, he's hurting right now because of rotator cuff surgery. He's wearing that sling. 12 consecutive 20-win seasons, 13 consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament.
Texas a little bit slow running their offense right now. They've not gotten a rhythm yet.
Jump shot around and out by Lewis, and a whistle on the floor of the foul. 16:51 to go in the opening half. Again, Texas not ranked coming into Chapel Hill. Longhorns have lost 2 close ones on the season. Foul here on Zeller will be number 1. They lost to Oregon State, and in overtime in that game at NC State by 3.
See a little UCLA cut. And so far, Texas has been having some difficulty getting into their offense. North Carolina is a solid defensive team.
Brown way out there, and too strong for Jacobin Brown, and a foul that will go against Texas, and a personal against Lewis, his first.
A little bit of a defensive mistake there by North Carolina. John Henson left the ball, and even though you're 25 feet away from the basket, you can't leave the ball when Jacobin Brown's got it, because he's going to shoot it. You leave him open, and he's going to make more of those than he misses.
You wondered if Carolina might be a little bit weary. They are playing their 3rd game in 5 days tonight, but they don't look it. The offense very, very crisp. Great play underneath the basket for the quick strike there.
Texas worried about the shuffle cut, conceding ball reversal, and Kendall Marshall just took him backdoor. That was really well executed by North Carolina.
And every one of the starters has scored so far for North Carolina, so they're getting outstanding balance.
You see a little shuffle cut that Tyler Zeller's going to come off, and just a little turn move right on the wing, and Kendall Marshall took advantage of Kabongo getting on the high side. That was really well done and well executed. That was more of a set play out of that they were looking for to take advantage of a young team.
They trounced Nichols this week, but Roy Williams was not pleased by the way his team played in that game. He didn't feel they were serious enough about it, even though they won by a ton. Here's Brown outside, trying to drive on his screen and take it away. Here's Henson up against Holmes, almost lost it to spin, can't lay it in. Fighting underneath Barnes, and the foul. Harrison Barnes will go to the line. He just stayed with it. And now a chance for a 3-point play. And we have a timeout with 15:41 to go in the first half.
Well, Henson off the steal. Give credit to Barnes. Didn't quit on the play. Got rewarded at the end. Carolina has been sharp.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay. And the all-new Volkswagen Passat 2012 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Capital One Bowl Week continues through January 2nd.
Texas falling behind early here in North Carolina. Rick Barnes is back in Chapel Hill. First time since '98 when he was head coach at Clemson. And late in that game, North Carolina had the game well in hand. Clemson had its 6th player foul out of the game. And the problem was that the Tigers only had 10 players dressed for the game. So Barnes memorably taking off his suit jacket, going without the tie tonight because of that sling he has to wear. I think he likes it. So Barnes at the line. And was going for his 5th point, tipped out high and off into the backcourt. And Carolina will get another possession and a new shot clock.
Henson setting the high ball screen for Marshall. You can go underneath the ball screen with Marshall because he's not a great shooter, but you got to put pressure on him. It gets the ball easily into the post.
Barnes with that fall away. Not that time. Holmes battling for the rebound and kicked out by Kabongo. So Carolina will have it. A bad break there for Texas.
Well, Harrison Barnes posting up Jacobin Brown where he's a lot bigger. He wound up taking a turnaround jumper. It's a shot that he can make. It's a good shot for him, but I still think he needs to power his way. And that's the next step for him. He needs to overpower a guy like Jacobin Brown and get him to the rim.
Zeller spins to his right. Rebound tipped once, twice by Henson. Bullock comes back with it. Marshall off the fake. Zips the pass. Zeller with the stuff. Kendall Marshall averaging about 10 assists a game coming into this one.
Well, he faked the pass and then got the defense to come to him and still wound up getting it to Zeller. And you got to give some credit to John Henson there because he kept that ball alive on the glass.
The bouncing Kabongo will draw the foul as he went to the iron.
You think you can teach somebody to do this? At first, it started with a poor closeout by Kabongo. You got to close out low and under control against Kendall Marshall because he's not going to beat you with his perimeter shot. He's going to beat you with his ability to put it on the deck, draw the defense, and then find the open man. And you just can't. You can teach someone where to look, but you can't teach them to see the game. And this young man can see the game like very few others in college basketball.
3 assists already in this one. I think most Tar Heel fans would point to the day that Larry Drew III left the team in early February last season, and Marshall became the starting point guard. And the very next day against Florida State, 16 assists. He drives, and it's blocked by Chapman just into the game. Blake Chapman, 6'10" senior, with a nice defensive stop. 14-7 Carolina.
Chapman coming off perhaps the best game of his career against Temple. He had 13 rebounds, couple of blocks, 7 points. He's been playing very well over his last 3 games.
Zeller really commanding it on the inbounds. Can't lay it in with the left hand, and the foul will go against North Carolina.
We don't see Tyler Zeller miss too many of those. He used his left hand, and those are plays that he needs to finish. This year, he's played very well of late at 31 points against Long Beach, or against Appalachian State, excuse me. But he hasn't been as strong with the ball as I've seen him in the past. That's something that I know he'll improve upon.
Foul was on Henson moments ago. Chapman in the lane. Airmailed it. McClellan underneath. McClellan missed it. So did Chapman. Well, they had plenty of chances. Now on the outlet. Great give. The layoff off that backboard by Henson. He tried to save it. Gave it right back to Kabongo. And a foul is committed by Harrison Barnes in the backcourt, his first.
How many possession changes were there? The shot clock operator must have carpal tunnel syndrome after that.
Well, it's going to be frenetic if Carolina has their way. Of course, they've already faced Michigan State, UNLV, Wisconsin, and Kentucky. And the Tar Heels have the first of 2 meetings with Duke coming up here on February 8th, and you'll be there on our ESPN family of networks. Texas, by the way, 2 out of 9 shooting it early on.
And they've not gotten good shots. Carolina's defense has been solid. They've pressured, they've trapped. They've not let Texas get into anything. Got to shoot that. He's wide open.
did not, went for the pass instead. And another block by Carolina. It comes free to Marshall, who always has that head up, always looking down the floor with that great vision. Bond with the rebound, and Texas will take over, trying to cut into a 7-point Carolina lead. Kabongo a little bit out of control there. Now nothing but white shirts around him. Almost threw it away. It was tipped off of Bullock. And he will disagree with the call, but with 13:26 to go, it'll be Texas ball here in the first half.
Roy Williams just asked Reggie Bullock, did he touch the ball? And I think Bullock said, yeah, I got a piece of it. But Kabongo, you're right. Kabongo just took the ball too deep, and he's got tremendous speed. But he's going to have to learn how to channel that speed, how to change speed. It's kind of like a pitcher. You don't want to throw a fastball every time. And as a point guard, you don't want to go in the same gear all the time. You need to switch it up.
Bongo running the point. Spent the first 3 years of his life in Congo Republic and then lived in Cape Town, South Africa. The NBA is back on ABC and ESPN on Christmas Day. Countdown starting at 2 Eastern on ABC, 2:30. An NBA Finals rematch, the Heat and the Mavs. And then at 5, the Bulls and the Lakers. And there's more at 8 o'clock Eastern. The Magic take on the Thunder. Finally at 10:30 on ESPN. First time I've said this, Chris Paul and the Clippers battle Blake Griffin and Golden State.
Well, how about that? They're having a debate over who's the best team in L.A. When was the last time they had that debate?
Yes, Marshall outside the 3. Here's Henson. 6'11" against 6'10". Working on Chapman. Almost gave it up. Shot clock down to 10. Marshall trying to make a move. Got airborne. Gives it off with a short jumper and swished in by James Michael McAdoo, the 6'9" freshman and the cousin to the former Tar Heel great.
And the son of Roddy McAdoo, the former Old Dominion great. Julian Lewis did about all you could do defensively against Kendall Marshall. He still found the open man.
So since 1829, Jay, Texas with only 1 point. They just can't get on the board. Chapman trying to change that. Can't. 3 tips there, and they all rolled off the iron. They'll have it on this end. Texas will keep it, but they're getting opportunities close in now.
Well, North Carolina didn't finish that defensive possession by grabbing the defensive rebound, but this is as well as North Carolina has played defensively to start a game that I've seen all year long. You know, this team, I think, can be very good defensively. It has been good, but it can be even better. And it can be an outstanding rebounding team, and thus far it has been good. But I think those are areas where North Carolina can really improve.
Jacobin Brown slicing his way in, but the pass is tipped. They've turned it over 5 times. Hairston had it swatted away from behind, and Texas had a man go up into the stands, Julian Lewis, and several rows up into the seats here at the Dean Smith Center.
Boy, that would be like some sort of long jump record. Bob Beeman. He went like 6 rows up. He got into the cheap seats.
DJ Hairston fouled in the act of shooting a long one there. But exactly 12 minutes to go in the first half. Carolina leading at 16-7. McClellan with the personal. His first is Henson, who's been very, very active. Gets a little bit of a breather. So 3 shots coming here for Hairston.
And this is where Texas, with the 3 big guys for North Carolina on the bench, really needs to be able to get something inside, make a move, take their time. You know, they're playing against North Carolina's second team, bigs. And they've really had a hard time getting anything around the rim.
Hairston, a good foul shooter. He's at 84%, just a freshman out of Hargrave Military Academy. He's a big guard, 6'6", 220.
And he's strong. I mean, you think that he's a jump shooter, and he is an outstanding jump shooter. The last 2 games, he shot 20 free throws. Now the last 3, 23. That's pretty good. Here comes the trap in the scramble defense.
Ryan trying to bounce it into the corner and nearly stolen away. That trap is working.
And you have to see that trap coming and attack it. You just can't stand back because North Carolina's going to take it from you.
Lewis asking for people to get moving. Short pass deflected. And they'll keep it. Texas will retain with 13 on the shot clock. This has been a pretty good series, in particular as of late. Coming up, a look at Texas and North Carolina, which came down to the final seconds last year.
Jerry's house, man. We'll call it Jerry's joint. It's unbelievable.
Another costly turnover committed by Carolina. Another offensive rebound.
Absolutely dominating him on the interior. Marshall outside the Barnes, a contested 3. Good! 5 seconds. Joseph pulls up at the foul line. Fade away jumper. Good! The Longhorns have beaten the North Carolina Tar Heels for the 2nd consecutive year.
Well, in 09, Texas became the first team to score 100 in regulation against the Tar Heels since Roy Williams became the head coach in 03. Last year, a thriller at Greensboro Coliseum. Corey Joseph with that turnaround jumper with 1.4 seconds left as Texas won at 78-76. And we've been talking about the sling on the arm of Rick Barnes after that rotator cuff surgery. It was a torn labrum for Roy Williams, but he was wearing the same getup in 09. Injured that in a golf tournament. I mean, nobody gets hurt in a golf tournament.
Well, when you really swing at it, you do.
So obviously sympathetic about his opposing coach's plight.
Well, they were in consultation with each other. Dr. Williams was helping out Rick Barnes in his decision on having the surgery during the season. And Roy Williams advised that he should do it. And they were actually talking about the difficulties, like how you best get a shirt on and ways to take, ways for hygiene, all that stuff, all the difficulties. The
proper way to bathe with this.
Exactly, which are difficult. And so they talk more about that than basketball of late.
Jacobin Brown knocking down a jump shot. Rare points for Texas here in the first half. Already 7 Carolina players have gotten into the scoring column in this one.
Well, when North Carolina's had to go 5-on-5, that's just a bad pass. There's nothing there. Even if that's completed, there's nothing there. I think it's a 6th or 7th turnover that Texas has had, and North Carolina's been able to eat them alive as a result of that. Any time that they're playing 5-on-5, Texas has a chance. You get advantage situations for North Carolina, and they're gonna have their way with them.
James Michael McAdoo up top. Here's Bullock. Now Dexter Strickland, the junior, had a spectacular dunk in the early seconds of this one. McAdoo with a turnaround, partially blocked there by Chapman, but saved on the second effort. Really taken right back by Texas. Strickland really forcing that pass underneath. Very frenetic now as it's loose and batted away by Watts. Should be Texas ball, and it will be.
I'll tell you, Julian Lewis really plays hard. Gets down in a stance. And these young Texas players, all the freshmen, really play hard. They're coachable, but they're in an environment where they've gotten knocked back right out of the gate here, and they need to get their surroundings right now, get their bearings, and fight back, because right now North Carolina's really taking it to them.
Texas losing all 5 starters from a Sweet 16 team last year. They have not been out of the preseason top 25 since 2000 and unable to crack it so far in the early going of this season.
Jacobin Brown has played against some really good defenders. He's got a real challenge going against Dexter Strickland. Strickland did a great job against Wisconsin in guarding Jordan Taylor.
Brown lofts it up, no. And rebounded away by Barnes, very active on the glass here early. He's going to be left open for a long one and buries it. Well, if you do that, he's going to kill you with it. He has 7.
He may not have shot the ball well the last couple games, but he's shooting close to 50% from three-point range on the season. He shot in the 30s last year, just a tremendous improvement. And when he takes good shots, he's an elite jump shooter.
He's at 48% from 3 for the season coming in. He was at 34% beyond the arc last year, so you're right. Pretty dramatic improvement. Here's Lewis from deep in the corner. Launched one way too long. Chapman picks it up.
Just a really bad shot by Lewis. Challenged and deep.
Shot clock winding down. Now at 4. Jacobin Brown can't roll it in. Lewis has it come free to him, so a new shot clock for the Longhorns.
That's where Carolina needs to improve, is on the defensive glass. This can be a really, really good rebounding team, and thus far in the season, it hasn't been a great rebounding team, and they haven't rebounded at the highest level at either end.
Tabongo running the point. The fake by Holmes, trying to get around Henson. Boy, that's a strong move.
Now, he's a really strong right-hand driver, and after he knocked down that first shot from the perimeter, Henson had to come out and respect it.
Kendall Marshall, a sophomore, running the point. He's already had 5 games of 10 or more assists this season. Barnes will take it, fading away, dunks it down to Zeller, and a foul there by Chapman as he went up for the block. Underneath the basket, 8.5 to go. Tomorrow night, ESPN2 has a Holiday Hoops doubleheader. Starting at 7, it's Memphis and Georgetown. Then at 9, number 24 Illinois facing number 8 Missouri in their annual battle. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers tomorrow night on ESPN2.
North Carolina had Tyler Zeller in the post, and then Harrison Barnes coming off a little opposite double. He loves to curl that. Thought he was going to take a difficult shot, but he wound up finding, here he comes off that opposite double, loves to curl, and that's where you really have to step in, and wound up finding Tyler Zeller, and that's something that Zeller needs to finish. Those are plays that I think he finished much more efficiently last season, and he's more than capable of doing. His hands are so good, and for some reason he's been getting the ball knocked away this year, uncharacteristically for him. Here comes a scramble.
Quick dish inside for an easy basket for Jalen Bond, 6'7" freshman. So that time Texas recognized it very quickly and capitalized.
Sterling Gibbs did a nice job of seeing it coming. You really have to attack that.
Zeller, no. Bond with a tough rebound off balance. And here's Sterling Gibbs. His older brother Ashton, a senior at Pitt. Here's Brown. Yeah. He'll knock down a three.
Texas isn't afraid to run. You know, when they've got a loose ball, they get a rebound, they'll go the other way.
Marshall, that's a tough pass and a wild one over the head of Henson. And 4 turnovers for Carolina.
Well, Jacobin Brown, they find him in transition. That's one of the only times he's found anything open. And when he's open, he drills it.
Well, in the offices of the North Carolina basketball office, look what they've done to the top of the tree. Not your typical top of the tree ornament. That's Roy Williams. Somebody grabbed a bobblehead, a Roy Williams bobblehead. I mean, does that look anything like Roy Williams to you? That could be Don Knotts for all I know. There's the real article. Just having a little fun in the hoops offices at Carolina. At the coach's expense.
And North Carolina's first shot defense has been really good. But they've not finished it off with defensive rebounds. Texas has gotten way too many second shots in this ballgame. They haven't capitalized as much, but...
Down a little long Zeller there to clean it up. Well, Texas starting to creep back into this thing, although Brown missed there. Here's Barnes leaving it well short.
North Carolina got off to a great start. They were 6 of their first 8, but they've really struggled. They're 3 of their last 13 now.
Well, now Texas is back to settling for the quick shots, and you admonished them for that early.
They must not have heard me. I can't believe it.
Zeller up high. Got a great look, and it was in the cylinder and spun out. 24-16, North Carolina. And a whistle with 6:48 to go in the half, and Roy Williams disgusted. Foul on Harrison Barnes will be his second.
Texas has, they're down 8 points, but they seem to have weathered a storm a little bit. They look a little more in control of what they're doing, but they also look a little bit tired. I mean, both the big guys, Holmes and Wanmeni, were on their shorts, leaning over. This is a quick pace, and it's a pace that North Carolina wants. They want Texas to take quick shots.
Texas with 6 true freshmen on the roster, so about as young as it gets. Here's Gibbs, a little bit too strong. Boy, tough rebound in traffic by Bond. Back out for Kabongo.
Bond has played really well over his last couple games. 15 points, 10 rebounds average over the last 2.
Came into this game having made 15 of his last 19 shots. Wanmeni up high. Shot clock at 17. It's plenty of time for the Longhorns.
And North Carolina has guarded this Utah Jazz series really well.
On the drive, Lewis, a fall away. The shot's just not dropping for the Longhorns. After a bit of a hot run, Hairston will attack the iron and slam it down. And the foul. Goodness gracious. P.J. Hairston. You don't want to get in his way at 6'6", 220. He is strong and he can lift.
First it was Dexter Strickland. Now P.J. Hairston. Both throwing it down with authority. One two-handed, one one-handed. And Texas has been fodder for a couple of pretty impressive posterizations by North Carolina.
Julian Lewis, the unlucky victim, getting in the way and committing the foul. 6'3" guard. That will resonate. 5:53 to go in the half. 2 fouls on Lewis. And he cannot complete the three-point play, but he couldn't save it. Wanmeni stepping on the line, and so it'll be back over to Carolina.
Got to be prepared right here against North Carolina with Kendall Marshall throwing it in. He likes to look for that quick lob. They defended it well because he was looking for it.
Zeller on the low block. Back out for Marshall. Zeller again. Here's Hairston. They moved it well. Picked off by Zeller. Back up. No. And stuffed in on the other side by Henson. Boy, they are up there in the rarefied air, the Carolina Tar Heels. Gibbs trying to slice and lost it. Marshall with it. One-handed pass up ahead. Henson bats it. How about that? Bullock able to finish it on a touch pass by Henson. Well, that was gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
Kendall Marshall tried to pull it back, then went through with it. John Henson very alertly tipping it to a teammate. That's beautiful transition basketball.
Moments ago, Roy Williams, talk about a guy who smells blood in the water. His team is up 30-16.
Well, you know, Dave, I think that's an issue for this team. This is a really good basketball team that can win the whole thing. I really believe that. I think they can wind up being the best team. But will they deliver a knockout blow in a situation like this? The 2009 national champion Tar Heels, they did that. You put them in this situation, and they'd step on your neck. And then if you breathe, they'd step further. And really just knock you out. And that's what this team has to learn to do.
Foul on Hairston. 16 fouls. 30-16 Carolina. And some rim-rattling baskets here in the first half. Now we'll see if the Longhorns can settle down.
John Henson has had a tremendous impact in this game. Every time that Texas feels like they've been open, whether it's Jacobin Brown, whoever it is, he's been there to really put pressure on a perimeter shot.
One handing off here for Brown. He'll fire that one up, hit the deck. Holmes there to finish it. No, he can't do that. Zeller battling on the boards, giving chase. What a save. Up ahead, Henson. The 6'11" man will lay it in. All Carolina right now with 4:26 to go in the half.
Now Henson leaked out early there, but I think he still needs to get down there and rebound. You know, they're going to get that every once in a while and get a layup, but he needs to stay down there and rebound. See, he's out near the top of the key, and Tyler Zeller hustled to get that ball, and Henson was the beneficiary at the other end. But I think Carolina a little bit fortunate to wind up getting that ball because of the great hustle of Tyler Zeller. He was really 1-on-3 on the glass with Texas on that one.
Some key stats. Look at transition points. Carolina up 12-3. Look at points off turnovers, 13-0. And in the paint, flat domination. How about Roy Williams jumping out with a towel, the official timeout? Well, he wants to keep this running. He doesn't want a stoppage and play the way his team's going at it.
That's a hard-working head coach there. I wonder if that's in his contract. Maybe that's how he hurt his arm 2 years ago.
That might have been it. Popped that rotator cuff. A do-it-all head coach. 32-16. Carolina impressive to say the least. Nearly forced another turnover. Holmes outside the three. Kabongo wanted the ball back as we approach 4 minutes to go in the opening half.
That trap in North Carolina's scramble defense has really affected Texas.
Holmes, yes, a three-pointer for Jonathan Holmes, 6'7" freshman from San Antonio. Bullock trying to return the favor. That didn't take long.
Well, after you score, Texas kind of jogged back, and you've got to sprint back.
Stolen away by Harrison Barnes. Trying to fast break another. Here's Bullock, another three. Picked off by Barnes. He'll get a new shot clock.
Yeah, that was a tremendous pass by Barnes.
Henson with a miss. Another one for Bullock. Here's Barnes again. And Texas comes away.
Well, that last shot by Barnes, he was open. I think that's one after you get a couple opportunities where you run something and make sure you get a good shot and score. They're right in the stage of being able to knock this team out.
Holmes short. Barnes fighting for the rebound. He has 5 boards here in the first half.
See, that wasn't a good shot by Holmes. He made his last one, but that was off of the first pass. They didn't make North Carolina guard him. And that's something he'll learn.
Henson trying to dunk that one, but got underneath the rim on the alley-oop and could not convert.
Anytime Henson's on the perimeter, they're going to look to back screen him to the rim for a lob. You always have to be aware of that. Any ball reversal by North Carolina, especially with Henson on the perimeter, they're looking lob.
Holmes, he's feeling it as he swishes in a two-pointer. On a run, Bullock on the other end. Chapman will commit the foul as he went for the block with 2.5 to go. Roy Williams. He's the angel in the office, and he's the janitor. And boy, his team is cleaning up everything in sight, aren't they? A slew of high-rising dunks at the Dean Center.
Jonathan Coach here in studio. Coming up on the K Jewelers halftime report, Kobe Bryant. He has an injured wrist. How serious is it? We will let you know. Also, 6 remaining unbeaten in college basketball. We will discuss who's been the biggest surprise. The silky smooth Jay Williams joins me at halftime. Guys, see you then.
All right, Jonathan, the remaining unbeaten, Syracuse at a perfect 12-0. Louisville now 11-0, and as you see, 4 of those unbeatens very soon on our ESPN family of networks.
And really, of the unbeatens, it's almost folly to say which team has a chance to go undefeated. Probably none of them do. But the one that has the chance to realistically to go into postseason play without a loss is Murray State. Within the Ohio Valley Conference, Isaiah Cannon's a terrific player that they've got. They've got an older team. But nobody else has a shot. Everybody else is going to drop a game here or there.
Nice touch there by Bullock to hit them both. He has 7. Carolina giving you more than just a glimpse of how stunningly good they can be. When they have had the running attack going tonight, it's been awesome to behold with a series of poster dunks.
I think the encouraging thing has been how well they've defended. They have not rebounded well. They haven't limited Texas to one shot as often as they should, and their offense hasn't been as smooth as it can be. That's going to improve and can improve. There's another second shot. They just didn't capitalize on it. But North Carolina's first shot defense has been really, really good.
McAdoo drawing the foul as he got hit with 1:48 to go. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
That's where Jalen Bond cannot foul. He's got to make McAdoo shoot over him as a fall-away jumper. And that's just a rookie mistake to foul in that situation.
Bond's first foul. McAdoo, a 2-time Virginia High School Player of the Year out of Norfolk Christian High School. He was also named USA Male Athlete of the Year. Michael Jordan, Sean May, and Sam Perkins also won that award. So he's in fine company.
He's also the MVP, co-MVP of the McDonald's game, co-MVP of the Jordan Brand game. He really had a tremendous postseason in the All-Star competitions last year.
Well, they're making the foul shots. They've made 9 out of 11. Carolina has.
And that's been a problem for them. They shoot in the 60s. And the last 2 games coming into this one, they've missed a combined 30 free throws in the 2 games. They're getting there a lot, though.
Yeah, and they have an 18-point lead. It's the biggest of the first half. Texas looking to cut in, but they're having trouble getting anything with that shot clock winding down several times now. Inside 10, it's happened again.
They're not screening and not moving. They're just standing around.
Gibbs, shot clock down to 2. Has to heave it. Bond still battling underneath, and they got a little bit fortunate because he got his hand on it, kept it alive.
Well, they've been going to the offensive glass, and North Carolina, they play 34 seconds of great defense, then give up a layup.
McAdoo had to alter his shot. Bond was all over him, and now he tries to chase it down in the corner and saved it. And a man down, official timeout with 51.8 seconds to go.
Looks like it's Alexi Wanmeni.
It is Wanmeni on his back. So a stoppage in play as he gets up. Wanmeni from Cameroon. You see Zeller running into him.
Looks like he ran into Bond as he was going down. Looked like he hit Jalen Bond.
Yep.
And Bond did a much better job on that possession of just making McAdoo take a tough shot over him. You remember last possession he fouled and put McAdoo on the line. That time he made him take the tough one.
Alexis is in the care of his legal guardian, San Antonio Spurs GM R.C. Buford, who discovered Wanmeni in 04 during an NBA basketball without borders trip to South Africa. 39.4 seconds to go, and got some cobwebs right now. And it looks like he got hit in the face. There's Bond. Oh, Zeller went up with the left hand, deflected that one away. And now the steal. Strickland wants to push it. And zips that one out. A wild break for Carolina.
Well, North Carolina wants to push it, and Roy Williams willing to live with some mistakes, but that's one where Dexter Strickland, who doesn't make a ton of mistakes, he's a backup point guard, is usually pretty smart with the ball, but he needed to be smarter there. What a tremendous block with the left hand by Tyler Zeller, and a terrific steal by Strickland. But here's where he's got a short clock there. If you don't have it, pull it back out, get the last shot, and go in with some momentum after a terrific first half, especially defensively. You know, Carolina should have over 50 points right now, honestly. If they had been better with the ball, a little bit better in their half-court offense, you know, they should really be blowing this team out the way they've played.
Kabongo deep in the corner off the side of the backboard. That's how the first half comes to an end. Carolina with 39, and for Roy Williams, very, very balanced scoring. Look at all the men in the scoring column. Barnes and Bullock leading the way with 7 apiece, and some highlights that you are going to be seeing many times here in the early part of the basketball season. Some great dunks by North Carolina, and a healthy lead over Texas here in the first half. So we're at the break. Now let's join Jonathan Coachman in the studio for the Kay Jewelers halftime report.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Indeed, it is a Kay Jewelers halftime report. Jonathan Coachman, this guy right here, Jay Williams. North Carolina, at times they look very good, up 16 at the half. What has allowed North Carolina, Jay, to at times really look unstoppable?
Well, first off, their defense was really solid. They did a really good job of keeping everybody out of the middle of the paint. They've done a poor job on defensive rebounding, allowing Texas to get second and third chance opportunities. But also, I got a chance to talk to Rob Lehner, the assistant coach for Texas, earlier today. And he said the 3 keys to beating UNC at home were, number 1, we had to keep them off of the offensive glass. They haven't done a good job of that. UNC already with 12 offensive rebounds in the first half. Number 2, they had to do a good job of keeping them out of transition. UNC loves to push the ball in transition. Kendall Marshall, one of the best forward passers in the game of college basketball. And this is what they do. They feed off of turnovers. 9 turnovers in the first half for Texas, and all these turnovers have pretty much led to baskets on the offensive end for UNC. Once again, P.J. Harrison pushing the ball up in transition, another highlight play. Another push ahead in transition, the pass forward by Kendall Marshall, and they get the point. And you know, the last point is just keeping them off of the glass. When you allow UNC, like they did against Nicholls State, they had 31 offensive rebounds. You cannot allow them to push the ball in transition and then to get them second, third, fourth, fifth chance opportunities on rebounding the ball.
Clearly tonight, the toughest test Texas has had to date, and you can see really at times how young this Longhorn team really is. Again, 16-point lead for North Carolina at the half. Other news today in the world of the NBA, Kobe Bryant, the Lakers star. Tests show that he has a torn ligament in his right wrist. He will not play tonight against the Clippers, but how serious could this be? Here's our own resident doctor, Dr. Michael Kaplan.
Kobe Bryant landed on his right hand and tore a ligament in his wrist that holds the small bones together. Now, fortunately, it was not significant enough to require surgery, but I'll have to rest it for a few weeks to let it heal. If they get him back too quickly, it can become a nagging, chronic problem. They may even want to immobilize him for a few weeks and let it quiet down, but he should be back to the court within 2 or 3 weeks maximum.
Thank you, Doc. Still to come, more from the NBA. We got action on the court. Miami, Orlando. We got stars out tonight. Dwight Howard, LeBron, Dwayne, they're all playing. We'll show you what's going down between those two teams. And over on ESPN, top of the hour, Casey Paul and TCU set to take on Louisiana Tech in the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. Again, about 15 minutes till kick, over on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Lexus December to Remember sales event for a limited time at your Lexus dealer. Watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers.
All right, a week of Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers continues on tomorrow. Memphis, Georgetown, 7 Eastern. Our researcher Katie tells me that Illinois and Missouri, make sure you say it's the bragging rights game. If anybody knows about bragging, it would be me. That's 9 Eastern, ESPN2 tomorrow night. All right, 6 unbeatens left in Division I. Syracuse and Murray State leading the way at 12-0. The Race put their perfect record on the line tonight against Tennessee Martin. And on Thursday, Syracuse, Baylor, Missouri, Indiana all will try to keep their undefeated records intact in non-conference matchups. So we see the 6, Jay Williams. Let's play kind of a version of Take Your Pick.
Okay.
But we're not really giving you a choice. We're giving you a choice of all 6. Okay, let's start with your biggest surprise among the unbeatens thus far.
The biggest surprise team has been Indiana. Tom Crean has done a really good job with getting the spirit of winning back into Hoosier territory. And you talk about Cody Zeller averaging 15.3 points, 7.4 rebounds. This team has beat Butler. They won at NC State. They beat UK. They beat Notre Dame. And they're 11-0 for the first time since the undefeated season.
All right, what about the biggest sleeper thus far?
I'm going with Baylor. I'm going with Scott Drew. This is the deepest team Scott Drew has had since he's been coaching at Baylor. Perry Jones III had 28 points in that huge win on the road against BYU.
Yeah, Baylor plays West Virginia ESPN Friday. How about which team likely will win out, run the table in their conference?
I think Murray State has a really good chance in the Ohio Valley Conference. They have one of the first conference games coming up. They beat Memphis. They're a very long, athletic team. And you look at some of the other teams in that conference not really living up to the standards that they've had. And Murray State has a legitimate chance to run the tables for that conference.
What is it about you Dukies? Jay Billis a few minutes ago said the same thing. It's almost either he's following you.
Is it that we're smart?
I don't know. You do have a good education.
Thank you.
I will say that.
I appreciate it.
All right. Still to come, there is nothing that Roy Williams will not do to help the squad out. He said, wait a second, I got it. I got it. North Carolina has a 16-point lead at the half. We'll be back.
This halftime report is presented by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay. This halftime report is presented by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay.
Oh, I can taste it. Taste it. Christmas Day, 5 games on tap, including a doubleheader on ABC, a rematch for the finals, Heat, Mavs, then the Bulls and the Lakers, probably minus Kobe, a 5 Eastern match. Round out the night. All right, Heat, Magic playing tonight. Second time they met this week in an abbreviated preseason. Do you think this affects them at all, only playing a couple of times? I mean, LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne, they look ready to go.
I think Miami is going to be ready for a heck of a basketball season.
Yeah.
They're focused, and it's a shortened season now, so that could favor the younger team.
Yeah, he go up 10-0 early, now up 14-2. Dwight Howard inside. He says he's going to be focused on being a member of the Orlando Magic until he is not one. Then later, Howard again, throw down. Right now, Heat though up 19. They blew out the Magic earlier this week, and they are doing it again. How about the Knicks?
Oh, yes. Let's talk about NYC.
Brand new Knick, Tyson Chandler. Inside doing work. What $15 million a year will do for you.
Well, not only that, but he's also going to provide a defensive foundation for the Knicks down low.
Right now, you can see, thanks to Carmelo Anthony, all tied up at 17 with the Nets.
Waiting till they get Baron Davis healthy, too.
Yeah, big if. All right, number 2, UConn. Women coming out their first loss of the year against Baylor, taking on Charleston. That's Bria Hartley with the lay-in.
And you have to think that after they come off the first loss, it's probably going to be bad news for the College of Charleston.
It's like rock stars coming to town. Charleston, 8 points at the half. Not pretty. Well, Texas, they only have 23 at the half. They got some work to do. North Carolina, 39. Texas, 23. Second half coming up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. You're watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Welcome back to Chapel Hill. It's the ACC on ESPN. Ready for the second half. Carolina with a 16-point lead on the Texas Longhorns, 39-23. And some spectacular dunks, 4 of them in the first half by Carolina. They had 8 different players get into the scoring column. Dave O'Brien and Jay Billis alongside, and yet, Jay, you thought they could have had a lot more points.
Yeah, North Carolina came out with great intensity. They played really good first shot defense, although they gave up too many second shots. I don't want to sound greedy, but it should have been worse. I mean, they scored 39 points. They should have had over 50. They shot 42% from the field. They gave up way too many second chance opportunities. But when they got out in transition, they did a spectacular job. I thought the intensity level, especially on the defensive end, was really good. It's just a little bit more effort to finish those defensive possessions. And talk about hard work. And Roy Williams in the Naismith Hall of Fame, getting down on his hands and knees. Even he's cleaning up.
So 39-23 as we get the second half underway, and Carolina will have the basketball. Texas looked a little chastised, you thought, coming out of the locker.
I did. I thought they had the look of a team that got blistered at halftime.
Barnes throwing that one away as Henson goes into the front row, into the photographer row in the opening seconds of half number 2. Carolina coming in 10-2. Texas at 9-2. And starting 3 freshmen for the banged up Rick Barnes, coming off of rotator cuff surgery.
You know, for Texas, this second half is going to be about toughness. You know, they toughened up to set screens, to set up their cuts, and be able to run some offense. They didn't run any offense in the first half.
It was bouncing for Holmes, took the body, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. Foul on Tyler Zeller. It'll be number 2.
You know, much better execution off the ball screen, little roll, nice pass by Julian Lewis. You know, they ran something coming out in the second half. In the first half, mostly due to North Carolina's defense, which was really good. There's the pick and roll to the basket. Tyler Zeller, who at his size takes more charges than any big guy in the country. Just a little bit late getting there.
Holmes, a freshman from San Antonio, scored 16 against NC State. He's been Ty as their number 1 rebounder, and he has 12 points in this one quietly.
He's knocked down a couple perimeter shots, and he can really shoot the ball from the perimeter. He's not shot it particularly well to start the season. Nice duck in by Zeller.
Zeller on one many, almost lost his footing, tossed it up, and missed everything. Second chance, Henson, that'll roll in. Nice touch there close in by the big fella, John Henson.
And did it with contact. That's where Henson can do the most damage.
One many, great fake to get Zeller airborne, but Zeller holding, and he comes away with it. And here's Strickland on the other end, trying for the quick attack. They'll draw the foul and go to the line to shoot 2. Not a lot of fouling done in the first half. It kind of flew by. Flying is exactly what Carolina did, with some rim rattling dunks. Foul here will go against Holmes.
Texas couldn't catch him to foul him. And that was an example not only of Kendall Marshall, his ability to see up the floor, but that was a really good play by Dexter Strickland. He came back to the ball, and Texas just didn't see the ball in transition. You got to be really alert against North Carolina in transition because of Marshall's ability to pass ahead.
And Marshall averaging about 10 assists per game. Even LeBron James has tweeted about his passing ability, that great vision you talked about.
Now, who wouldn't want to play with a guy who willingly gives the ball up like that? You run, he will reward you.
Lewis with a teardrop short. Barnes with the outlet. Now the 2-on-1. Henson back to Strickland, and he'll lay that one in.
Oh, that is pretty. First the outlet by Barnes. That ball never hit the deck until it went through the rim.
44-25. The Tar Heels looking very comfortable against a Texas team they have lost 4 straight to in this series, including a thriller last year. Holmes long distance in and out, and a whistle on that play. A foul with 18:21 to go.
Harrison against Carolina. Harrison Barnes gets the rebound here and immediately gets it out. One dribble, and that's the end of it. That was really well executed by North Carolina. That's the way a fast break is supposed to be run.
3 on Zeller, so he hits the bench for Roy Williams. We'll see if Jacobin Brown is about to inbound here, can get going at 35 against Rhode Island, 25 against Oregon State, so he can fill it up.
Be interested to see if North Carolina keeps that high level of intensity on the defensive end through an entire 40 minutes in this game.
Lewis really pounding the deck, made a bad pass. McAdoo comes away with it. And now tipped away and stolen. Here's McClellan to drive it and score it.
Let's see Kendall Marshall turn the ball over like that. He just threw it right into the back of a Texas defender. Here's where North Carolina, I think, really can go to another level throughout the course of the season. It's their half-court execution.
Barnes in the lane, nicely done as he drops in 2. Give him 9.
We talked about in the first half, Barnes coming off that double down on the opposite side. He loves to curl it. And you've really got to step up and make it difficult on him. That's a tough offense to guard if they run it right.
Jacobin Brown came in averaging 19, has it up top with 11 on the shot clock. And the paint, left-handed, yes, he drops in 2. 10 points for Jacobin Brown.
Both the defense and the offense, they use them to screen each other to get all the way to the rim. He plays with really good pace. Now here's where Barnes is going to try to take advantage of his size advantage inside.
Barnes starting to really warm up now as he has reached 11 points and making it look pretty smooth and easy, the 6'8 sophomore out of Ames, Iowa.
He's had Jacobin Brown on him, and instead of going with a turnaround jumper, look, he can shoot over Jacobin Brown, but he's powered him in on that last one, and he can get into the lane and shoot over him. I think that's a better shot for him.
Holmes missing from 15. Many got pushed right out of bounds by McAdoo. Marshall swings it in. McAdoo beat everybody to the other end for the slam.
Many was on the deck on the other end, and McAdoo can really run the floor when you're looking down into the post and worried about it going in there. That was a terrific job of running right down the pipe by Michael McAdoo.
Now they've hit that 50-point mark that Jay demanded in the first half, 50 to 29.
They don't want to be greedy, but they should have hit it in the first half.
Well, they did throw some away. And, you know, Roy Williams is all about perfection as Holmes gets to the midcourt line. Here's the long one, and that'll rattle in by Sheldon McClellan. Has excellent range, certainly not bashful about shooting it. He's taken the third most shots in the team. Up top, Marshall.
McClellan's a really good offensive player, averages over 11 a game coming off the bench.
When McAdoo draws the foul, really getting involved in the offense, he'll go to the line.
Now Harrison Barnes averages about 16 points per game. And he's an elite jump shooter, but this is the next level for him, taking advantage of a matchup, getting into the paint and finishing a play through contact.
North Carolina with a 50-32 lead on Texas, and this Friday the home court of college hoops has a doubleheader coming your way. First at 7 Eastern at ESPN2. It's Western Kentucky against number 4 Louisville. Then at 9 on ESPN. Number 7 Baylor facing West Virginia. Holiday hoops on ESPN2 and ESPN on Friday night. What a great time to be a Baylor Bear. The men's team ranked number 7. Of course, the women's team is number 1 behind Brittany Griner. And Baylor has the Heisman Trophy winner in RG3. Not bad.
Boy, tremendous time at Baylor. And their basketball team, their front line is so big and talented. I think Brittany Griner might have a tough time starting for them. That's how good they are.
Brittany coming off a 25-point gem against UConn in a battle of 1 and number 2 on Sunday. So starters back to the bench, getting a rest for Roy Williams. It's been that kind of a night because Carolina has played awfully well. And beating up on young Texas here at Chapel Hill. On a catch, here's McClellan to drop in a 3.
Well, that's 2 in a row that he's hit. And he is instant offense coming off that bench. And North Carolina started this second half 5 of 6 from the field. Remember, they started out the game 6 of 8.
Texas forcing the turnover on the theft. Here's Gibbs. He's a freshman. Crowd thought he turned it over, but they say no. Roger Ayers said no turnover, but Roy Williams. I mean, even with the score 52-35, he's upset when the call's not going his way.
Well, it doesn't mean he stopped competing. And it looked like Gibbs tried to pass that ball, unless they called the tuck rule.
Shot clock down to 5, Jay. Here's Brown with a long one, and yeah, that's a pretty shot by Jacobin Brown. He's only hitting about 35% from 3, but all net there.
And Texas starting to look a lot more comfortable. That was just a bad pass. Trying to get the lob.
They're fortunate to get it back. Marshall on the drive and tied up and fouled with 14-12 left. So Roy Williams still coaching away.
It's only a 14-point game. I mean, with the 3-point shot and the fact that you've got some guys on this Texas team that can knock shots down and score. I wouldn't feel comfortable with a 14-point lead.
I think the question is, does Texas have that lengthy run that is going to be required? They certainly have the three-point guys who can help out from beyond that arc to really dig into Carolina. And if they do, it's going to go back to the question you started the broadcast with, one of them anyway, about Carolina. If there's something missing, and maybe they've shown that they're not quite there as a championship level team in some of these easy wins they've had, where Roy Williams thought they weren't quite ready to play.
Yeah, I think they're championship level. I just wonder, if they're going to get that killer instinct. And I also wonder with Texas, are they going to have enough gas left in the tank at the end of this thing? Because Carolina's wearing them out. I mean, their big guys are gassed.
In and out by McClellan. Tough rebound there by Bullock. And Carolina trying to attack here. Watts underneath and blocked. Back with it, Barnes. Inside, can't convert. He'll go to the line, however, to shoot a pair.
Well, that just kills you if you're Rick Barnes. And you finally get the ball defensively, and you can see that Jonathan Holmes, he's tired. And he's down on his knees right now, and Jacobin Brown trying to pump him up a little bit, but both he and Clint Chapman are a little winded.
Well, 3 on Holmes.
And that's one of the things at the pace that North Carolina, the pace at which they play, they not only can get a lot of fouls on you because of the number of possessions, the pace of the game, the fact that they can speed it up, but they wear you down, they take your legs away from you, so they, in essence, can wear you out and foul you out if they play the way they're supposed to play.
Barnes with 12 and 7 rebounds for the sophomore. Certainly showed in the ACC tournament last spring. He's capable of single-handedly carrying his team. He had that spectacular 40-point gem against Clemson.
You can see the free throw disparity. In North Carolina, if they shoot free throws at this rate and this level, they're going to be awfully difficult to beat. They shoot down in the 60s. Some teams are going to be able to stay with them. They shoot up in the 70s, 80s. They're going to be awfully tough to deal with.
Bullock fouling Jacobin Brown. That'll be his first. So Texas has it with 13:36. Just 63% so far for Carolina at the line. Shooting obviously much more effectively tonight.
Well, part of that's making sure you get the right guys at the line. John Henson is not a good free throw shooter, shooting under 50%.
Bond handing off to Brown. Well, Texas needs a hot hand if they're going to make a run at this thing. They cannot afford to be trading baskets with Carolina.
What they could use is a time machine to get some of these talented freshmen older in a hurry. It's just their youth has really showed in this game.
Look at Bullock. Very sticky defense. Got it back, and here's Marshall.
Bullock has really improved as a defender. What a pass.
McAdoo wide open, missed it all. Probably too open. Brown thought about a long distance three. He'll certainly take him from out there. 12:47 to go.
He's had so many tough matchups. He's had to go against Dexter Strickland. Now Reggie Bullock. Harrison Barnes has guarded him.
Foul, 12:40 to go. That'll be against Harrison Barnes. He just picked up his third. So 56-38, still very comfy for Carolina. Look at that roster breakdown. All those freshmen, 6 of them for Coach Barnes. And only 2 seniors, one of whom starts. McClellan missed badly there, and it's tipped out. Bounce pass knocked away by McClellan. Marshall tried to thread that needle. Now the open man is Barnes, and the foul. He got it to go. He'll go to the line. So in the end, it worked out for the Tar Heels.
Well, in large measure due to the hustle of Tyler Zeller to get that loose ball. Tyler Zeller stays with the play, gives it right up to Reggie Bullock, who finds Barnes underneath, and that's the kind of strong finish that Harrison Barnes is capable of, and he's really played well in this game. He's taken a couple bad shots, but for the most part, he's played really, really well.
And 15 points, almost at his average, and he's been a presence on the glass. Would have been a ton of offensive rebounds in this game.
And you like to see him showing emotion. You don't want to guys to go nose to nose like he and Chapman seemed like they were going to, but you like to see him show some emotion out there.
59-38 Tar Heels. Here's Brown straight on off the back of the iron.
The first open shot he's got. Had to have a defender fall down to get one.
And now foul here against Carolina. So 12:09 to go in the second half. The personal will go against John Henson, number 2.
Yeah, just trying to get that low post position. I'm not sure about that. That was, what would Raftery call that? A nickel timer. Well, Texas runs some really good offense, but they've not been able to run anything in this game and get what they want.
Chapman trying to back down on Zeller. Not there for him. One and done for Texas.
Can't reverse it, can't get anything inside. And Carolina's defense has been really in the half court the best I've seen it all year.
Henson, and he's fouled on that play. They get Jalen Bond for it. Crowd wanted a foul before that anyway. That'll be his second. So 11:35 to go here, and all Carolina 59-38 over Texas.
Jonathan Coachman here in studio over on ESPN. They're just getting started. The San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. Scoreless, TCU and La Tech. And here, North Carolina and Texas. The holidays. Pick your poison. Hoops, football. Guys, back to you.
Harrison Barnes leading the way with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and a couple of steals plus a block. And Carolina, number 6 in the land, with a 59-38 lead over Texas. In a game that last year came down to the last 2 seconds. Won by Texas with 1.4 on the clock over in Greensboro.
Corey Joseph hit that shot to win it, but some people may forget Harrison Barnes hit a tremendous shot to put North Carolina ahead. And actually in the game against Kentucky this year at Rupp, where Anthony Davis blocked that shot by John Henson, Harrison Barnes was wide open for a step-in 3. And I'm sure on film that was exactly the right pass to have made.
Bullock from the wing, around and out. Zeller tips it and right into his own bench. I think that'll be worth another look. If we can go back and take a look at that at some point here in the last 11:27, the game between Carolina and Kentucky, you'll see just how open Harrison Barnes actually was. A foul here with 11:21 to go. 60-38.
Well, Barnes has got such a high ability level. And the question with Harrison Barnes isn't, is he going to be a great player? He is a great college player. He's going to be an outstanding pro. The question is really how good and how long it's going to take him.
Now a tie-up. Gibbs trying to get free and can't do it. Let's go back now as we flash back. Jay, point out just how open Barnes is here.
Well, Tyler Zeller, you see right there, Tyler Zeller loses the ball, and then John Henson going to take that shot. Harrison Barnes wide open, and there's plenty of time. He took that shot with 6-7 seconds left in the ball game. He makes that pass, and I'd certainly take my chances with Harrison Barnes with a step-in 3, because he hit 5 or 6 of those as game winners or game-tying shots last year. He's really, in a way, as a freshman, had ice water in his veins, was unafraid to take the big shots.
I think lost in a terrific block, and there's a kick off of Barnes, so Texas will keep it. There's the fact that he was wide open. 10:43 left.
And that was such a high-level game. And North Carolina competed. They didn't play as well in the second half. They allowed Kentucky in the second half of that game, if I remember right, shoot like 54%, and Carolina shot down in the 30s, but still it was a one-possession game.
McClellan muscling his way in, and a blocking foul. He makes the basket and will go to the line with 10:39 to go. Zeller picks up number 4.
Well, Sheldon McClellan has really been aggressive offensively in this second half, looking for his shot and then driving the closeout. Just a poor closeout, an over pursuit. And I'll tell you what, that's a tough one for Tyler Zeller. He looked like he had gotten there. Maybe slid in just a little bit. I'm of the belief in a charge block call. We always say it's the toughest call in basketball, and it is. But if it's not obvious, an obvious charge, then it's got to be a block every time. So that's where I tend to agree with that call, that it might not have been an obvious charge, and it's got to be a block.
So Zeller will have to sit and watch for a while here. Under 10.5 left at Chapel Hill. And Carolina leading by 20. On the drive, Barnes. Not to be denied, he'll lay it in. Tremendous upper body strength there, 18 points.
Well, Harrison Barnes at times this year has settled for jump shots. He's not doing that in this game. I mean, that was a terrific drive. Took him a couple dribbles to get there, but he went right through contact. He's got a great look on his face. His demeanor in this game has been terrific.
If he's good, they can be great. That jump shot knocked down in the corner by Sterling Gibbs. His first basket, 62-43.
Well, Barnes, I think, has always got to be option number one.
McAdoo lost the handle.
McAdoo right now, he's such a young player and so talented. He's got to keep it simple. You know, if he defends, rebounds, runs the floor, and finishes plays around the rim, he'll be a terrific player for this team. But if he's trying to make post moves inside, right now he's not. I don't think he's prepared to do that. He will be. He needs to work on it every day in practice. They do a terrific job coaching big guys here at North Carolina. It was a really good drive, just off the little rub ball screen up top, and goes right into the contact and finishes the play.
So Brown, after the Strickland foul, makes the first. 9:30 left here. He has 14 points. And McAdoo and Barnes will step out. Harrison Barnes with 18 and 8 rebounds.
And North Carolina's found themselves in a little bit of, not foul trouble, but they've got a couple foul issues. You know, and I think Roy Williams will take a few fouls with the defensive intensity he's seen in this game. They have really defended with tremendous intensity.
Zeller with 4. Henson to his left. Oh, Strickland came sailing in to save it, went off into the crowd. Terrific hustle there.
He even got a camera off the floor.
And that was the official timeout as he kicked the camera onto the deck.
He did everything else in this play. I'm surprised he didn't stop, take a picture. Boy, terrific play. Nobody boxed him out. You know, Dexter Strickland is such a good defender. He can run, good in transition. I'll tell you, he's been very efficient with his offense this year. Doesn't take bad shots. He's only taken 1 3 on the season and shooting 57% from the floor.
Marshall, 6'4" sophomore, trying to swat away Gibbs, and Gibbs will be hit with a foul before the basket. And a crowd with some derisive applause aimed at the officiating for its 1-and-1 time, by the way. North Carolina.
Sterling Gibbs in the ball game at the point guard position, and Mike Kabongo, he's had a rough go of it in this game, but he's been struggling a little bit with some lower back issues. And you wonder if Rick Barnes has just decided that, you know, maybe it's not worth it to risk any further injury for him. He's had a difficult time, and he's such a great kid. He's going to be a great player.
He's a terrific kid. We talked to him today, and he said, well, there's some question about whether I'll play, but when those lights go on, I know I'm going to feel a lot better. And he did start. Fall away by Brown. Boy, inside. Missed it. Holmes does not from close in.
And that's been the only thing you can really complain about on the defensive end, is that Carolina's not finished defensive possessions with a defensive rebound. They've given up an awful lot of second shots, and you take those away, and you've taken away a big part of Texas's offense.
62-46, Marshall on the drive, and a foul from behind on Texas. We're talking about Mike Kabongo as we take a look at our next, brought to you by Dodge. Born in the Congo, later moving to South Africa. His family actually fleeing Africa because of all the political unrest. 2011 McDonald's All-American at St. Benedict's Prep. That was after living in Toronto. He speaks fluent Spanish, I should say French, and actually with Juan Meni, when they're on the court together, that's what they speak back and forth. And I assume they keep it clean, but who would know?
Well, I used to speak French to the officials only.
63-46. 8:10 to go. Gibbs trying to drive it. Back out from McClellan. That didn't touch anything. Holmes with the save. Strickland there. He'll push it for Carolina. Here's Henson. Back to Strickland. No. Well, a few times tonight they have not converted on a break like that.
Hey, John Henson's thrown some good passes in transition. Now, Harrison Barnes did a nice job of challenging that shot by Sheldon McClellan on the last possession. That's where McClellan needs to use a shot fake.
Brown dumping it down there for the quick two from Jalen Bond. And Texas trying to creep a little bit closer and make a game of it here in the last 7.5.
Well, they get a couple stops. They certainly don't want to foul and put Harrison Barnes on the free throw line, which they just did.
Timeout, 7:25 to go here at Chapel Hill.
Jonathan Coachman here with a studio update. St. John's playing 4-9 UT Pan American. Sir Dominic Pointer. The bucket inside, but right now they trail by 4. Just under 3.5 minutes to play that game on ESPN3. LeBron Nash set to go for Oklahoma State, taking on Alabama. By the way, JaMychal Green, Alabama's leading scorer, will not play tonight. About a half hour from tip there here on ESPN2. Guys.
7:25 left here at Chapel Hill. Jay Billis, Dave O'Brien alongside. Barnes is at the line. 63-48 North Carolina. He has 18 points tonight.
Dave, Carolina's got this game seemingly in hand, and they have played really well defensively. They started the second half out. They made 5 of their first 6 in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Since then, they've been 2 of 9. Now, I think a lot of that has been, that they haven't been as tough and resolute as they need to be running their offense, finishing plays. They did the same thing in the first half. In the first half, they started out 6 of 8, then they went 2 of their next 12. Now, the team that goes, combined 11 of 14 to start each half, they're more than capable of playing better in that next stretch. I think that's the next step for this team being a champion, and it's capable of being a champion.
Brown laid it off very nicely there for Jalen Bond, who drops in 2. Now 15-point game. The lead has been as high as 22 for Carolina, and it looked like they were about to blow Texas right out of the gym. Here's Henson, unleashed for the stuff. Boy, that lane opened up on that side, and another outstanding dunk by North Carolina. Certainly worth another gander.
Well, a terrific move by John Henson, but Rick Barnes talking to his team right now about nobody stepping in front. It's lesson time for the Longhorns in this timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building.
Well, for Roy Williams, and that's him, believe it or not, on the Christmas tree in the basketball office, a 17-point lead against the Texas Longhorns, 67-50. And Jay, I thought you were making a great point about Texas being as young as they are. 3 freshman starters, 6 true freshmen on the roster. Obviously, Rick Barnes has his hands full doing a lot of teaching. But when you look at a team in a program like Kentucky and what John Calipari's been able to do with all the young players.
Well, it's absolutely remarkable. I mean, it's not like his players, have a time machine and get older. That John Calipari's done a remarkable job of integrating so many young players, and they're extraordinarily talented, but that's not enough. I mean, he gets them to play hard and together and to get to play at a really high level.
Jacobin Brown, hard drive, right-handed, no, stuffed in by Holmes. Jonathan Holmes had a good game so far. He has 16.
He's competed.
Really, San Antonio, and playing very well, about 22 minutes a game. He got a little bit tired in the first half, but he's caught a second win.
And he and Jacobin Brown have really been the only offense for this team.
That's a block there by Holmes. He went up high and now foul underneath the iron with 6 minutes to go. And back to that block.
Holmes going up, blocking that with the right hand. Harrison Barnes right there to get it.
3 fouls now on Bond. And 21 for Barnes. Zeller's coming back on with 4 fouls, and so is Chapman for Texas.
Well, Barnes has really done a a good job in his sophomore year getting to the free throw line more often. That was an area he felt he could really improve, of trying to use his body, get into the lane more, get fouled more, rather than relying upon his jump shot. And he shoots about 5 free throws a game on average in this, his second year in college.
Harrison Barnes with 22 to lead all scorers. Lead back up to 17. Jacobin Brown weaving in, but no, denied, as North Carolina shuts him down in the lane. Mishandled there by Barnes, looking to line up a 3. Backdoor knocked away. Still free. Henson got it.
Well, Roy Williams seems a little bit frustrated with Kendall Marshall with some of the decisions that he's made. That certainly worked out in a broken play, but Marshall has tried in half-court situations to thread the needle a little bit more than perhaps he needs to.
And he had a 71-52 lead. Gibbs has it off his fingertips and out of bounds. Back over to Carolina it goes. Hey, tomorrow night ESPN2 is a Holiday Hoops doubleheader at 7. It's Memphis taking on number 16 Georgetown. Then at 9 o'clock, an annual battle between number 24 Illinois and number 8 Missouri. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers tomorrow night on ESPN2.
I'll be interested to see how Illinois tries to guard Missouri. There aren't quicker guards in the country than Missouri. I mean, those guys are unbelievably quick. Try to stay in front of them, you got no shot.
Zeller with a catch to the left hand, left it short. But McClellan could not stay in bounds. He's on the line, so with 4:52 to go, North Carolina has the ball back.
And North Carolina is winning this game because of its defense. They've held Texas to 52 thus far in the game. With improvement in their offensive efficiency, I mean, North Carolina would be absolutely dominating this game.
Barnes really driving it hard, follows his own miss for 2 more. So a fine night now, 24 and counting, and 10 rebounds as well.
He's really shown his versatility in this game. I don't mean versatility in the vast array of jump shots, but he's putting the ball on the floor. He's reading defenses pretty well. He's taken a couple that you'd say, well, you might not have taken that shot, but he's really worked hard, and his demeanor on the floor has been terrific.
Chapman on the back door will lay that one in, but Texas going without Mike Kabongo, their talented 6'1" freshman, here in the second half, and again because of a tight back. And it was even question about whether he would start tonight, although he did. He's been on that bench. Barnes, nice. What a dish there for Henson. Can't finish. Zeller has it knocked away from him. Texas wants to push it. Here's Brown. He lays it up. Zeller the man to bat it away. And now the outlet. Here's Bullock all by himself for 2.
What a play by Tyler Zeller. He's got 4 fouls. That could have been 5 if he was a little bit reckless defensively. Knocks that ball away. They get a layup out of it.
75-54 Carolina. Holiday Hoops on ESPN, and Carolina leading by 21 points over Texas. Texas starting 3 freshmen. North Carolina returning 5 starters from a 29-win squad. And they have looked that strong tonight for the most part.
Texas trying to get into a ball screen set. A little confusion about where they're supposed to be.
Holmes will let fly. Zeller with the rebound. So 10 rebounds for Zeller. Marshall with a bounce. On the other side of the iron, Zeller gets it back and banks it in.
When Zeller catches it, he can get rid of it quickly. He's really good going over that left shoulder. He gets the ball on the post. You got to sit on that left shoulder jump hook.
Brown slicing left-handed. Nice tough shot in heavy traffic there. And a timeout with 2:56 to go. 77-56 North Carolina. This Friday, the home court of college hoops has a doubleheader coming your way. At 7 Eastern on ESPN2, Western Kentucky will battle Rick Pitino's number 4 Louisville team. And then at 9 o'clock on ESPN, number 7 Baylor facing West Virginia. Holiday Hoops on ESPN2 and ESPN this Friday night. Now North Carolina looking very comfortable, Jay, most of the night. There were some sensational dunks in the first half. If you missed those, watch SportsCenter a little later. They'll all be on there.
Dexter Strickland, P.J. Hairston in particular. Strickland jumped right over Mike Kabongo, dunked it with 2 hands, and it did a good job defensively. And that's really been, in my judgment, the story of this game is the defensive intensity that North Carolina came out with against Texas. You know, it hasn't been an offensive masterpiece for North Carolina. They're capable of better. It's not been bad, but they're capable of better. Defensively, they've been really good. If not for giving up some offensive rebounds, I think you'd have very little to complain about with regard to their defense.
Harrison Barnes with a season high in points and rebounds. Bullock, yes, all net. What a sweet jump shot coming out of his hand, and that is the biggest lead tonight for North Carolina.
Well, he looks so much better now that he's healthy, with that knee completely healthy, and you know, when he rises up, you think that's going in every time.
Lewis draws the foul on his drive, 2:20 on the clock. Now tonight marking the 7th meeting between these two schools. The Longhorns had won 4 in a row, but North Carolina playing at a different level for long stretches, high above the rim. That was the Strickland slam, and there's been a bunch of them tonight. All worth a second look as Carolina is sailing at Chapel Hill.
Jonathan Coachman here with a studio update. St. John's, they were in a dogfight tonight with UT Pan American, 4-9. That was D'Angelo Harrison, but then Mo Harkless still throwing out. St. John's comes back to win. 66-61 is your final.
Sheldon McClellan at the line for Texas to make it 80-58. And by the way, for North Carolina, Kendall Marshall with 9 assists in this game. That gives him the most of any North Carolina player in the first 50 games of a career.
Just a tremendous passer. A vision that you just can't teach. You know, among the really encouraging things from this game tonight for North Carolina has been their free throw shooting. And not only they averaged 27 free throws a game, they've got their 29 times tonight. They've made 23.
Barnes delivering a 2-pointer to add to his total, give him 26. That's another sign of encouragement, just how well he's played. Scuffled a little bit the last couple of games, but against inferior competition. Tonight against a better team, he's lit up the place.
He's played with great aggressiveness. He's played with really good pace. He took good shots for the most part and rebounded well. He defended well. This is as well as he played in 4 or 5 games. That was a really, really good performance by Harrison Barnes.
4th career double-double. Very nice hand along with Zeller as they come out. Approaching the 90-second mark. So all Carolina tonight, really in all phases of the game. But as Jay has pointed out, I think very correctly, defensively they have been spectacular at times. Marshall on the drive. Handing off for Huber. Wasn't quite ready for it. Now the block by Holmes. Hairston tried to collect. He has it taken away. Just over a minute left here at Chapel Hill. 82-58. Long one by Gibbs. He'll knock down a 3.
When we've talked about it, Dave, the 82 points, you know, not particularly surprising. This is a team that can put points on the board. Holding Texas to 61 was a really solid defensive performance, and it probably should have been better if they'd done a little bit better job on the defensive glass.
So the final seconds here from North Carolina, and the Tar Heels to go to 11-2. This will be the 3rd loss of the season for the young Longhorns. Stolen away by McClellan, and he'll slam it on the other end. So a rare second half highlight for Texas.
That young man, Sheldon McClellan, is going to be a really good player. He's good now, but he's going to be really good.
Has 16 points in this one. A half a minute to go on the block by Chapman. Again, Texas has not been out of the preseason top 25 in over a decade, and they're not going to crack it with a win here tonight. But you got to believe they learned an awful lot. DuPont on the other end can't convert, and a foul with 12.6 to go. It's been a long night for that man, Rick Barnes. Not only because he's had that arm in a sling. This is, by the way, only the second week he has to wear that. He has to wear it for 6 weeks. This is only week number 2.
Got a long way to go with that one, but you know, you're looking at, in this game, 2 of the best coaches in college basketball, and Roy Williams and Rick Barnes.
Yep, no doubt.
They've gone against each other for quite a while. We've talked about this being the first win for Roy Williams over Texas since he's been in North Carolina, but he had a 6-1 record against Texas when he was at Kansas against Rick Barnes' teams.
Yeah, he was 0-3 at Carolina, and there's the final buzzer. There'll be no basket at the end. 82-63 is your final score. It goes to Roy Williams. So as the Carolina head coach, his first victory over Texas after 3 losses, and that also snaps a 4-game winning streak for Texas over the Tar Heels. 82-63. North Carolina came out firing tonight, and they really showed their tremendous athleticism and above the rim play in putting away the Longhorns. Final score 82-63. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jay Billis, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks so much for joining us tonight here at Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Right now, let's send it back to the studio and Jonathan Coachman.